News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288 WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Chris Crock Show. So this was a explosive confrontation that led to violence between two women at a Mexican restaurant. Is it really worth it? Apparently so, but I wouldn't think so. This you'll hear the audio in a second. Screaming, yelling, swearing. Cops come shortly towards the end of this thing, and he screams at them, at the crazy woman, and yells, "Stop, or someone's going to the jail here right now." Turns out the woman who's accused of freaking out and starting the whole thing was arrested, and her mugshot was posted by the woman who she tangled with. It was all over a baby, and the claims that a baby was screaming and ruining everything, and quote, "People at my tables and tables next to me couldn't hear me talking," says the woman who was screaming and complaining, going wild. She basically says the baby was screaming and yelling, and the young mother was not doing her job, and then it led to fisticuffs. I'm going to play this audio for you first. Be prepared. This is going to get wild. Lots of swears, but we bleeped him out.
It's a baby. It is a baby.
Then don't bring your baby in a
Yelling at me, goddamn. Don't yell at me.
I'm only yelling at you because you're yelling at me, and I'm trying to get you to.
No, I'm trying to tell you, if you plan on finishing your dinner, sit the
calm down and eat.
That's what I'm telling you.
Now, because other people are trying to have a conversation. That's what I did with my children. I didn't have it so loud where people at my table, at tables next to me, couldn't hear me talking.
Yeah,
I don't.
Voice, so everybody in the damn
But ma'am, listen,
Yeah.
you start screaming at the top of your voice.
I never heard the baby.
We never even heard the baby over there.
And we're sitting right there.
I went to the bathroom earlier. I could hear the baby in the bathroom. I'm sitting right there.
What baby?
I can hear.
You're a ignorant.
I can hear her talking.
Mom,
I can hear her baby in the bathroom.
You started yelling at this baby.
Now we're gonna get everybody's food to go, and y'all can.
I'm just trying to get up out of my seat. She wouldn't let me out of the seat, and she backed me.
If we say people are going to jail,
Okay.
so get your food to go, pay your check, and go.
Okay.
Oh, that's so cute.
Let's not do it.
Okay, at the end, the crazy woman then called the young mom who she was fighting with physically, and effing the W word for prostitute, WH, whatever, ORE, and flipped her off before she was arrested and escorted out of the restaurant. Is this worth it? I mean, you're sitting in a Mexican restaurant trying to eat in this insane inflation, paying double for your food, and someone's screaming at someone, and there's fighting, and they start punching each other. Now, this 11 million viewed so far video that was posted by the young mother. The young mother's there with her child. And this lady on the other side of the restaurant claims that the kid was being so loud and disruptive that she couldn't eat, and that everybody around her was feeling the same way. So she confronted the lady or something, and when the young mom came over, she yelled or did something. When the young mom came over to say, "Oh, yeah, I know what it was," there was apparently some people freaking out. On the other side of out of the restaurant, it was this woman here that was screaming and yelling. The young mom is sitting there with her son or daughter, whatever, the baby. The baby's apparently loud. This woman on the other side of the restaurant freaks out. I guess she makes loud noises or something. The young mom goes over there and she confronts the wrong table. "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you yelling about my kid?" Or something of that nature. And the guy's like, "It wasn't me. It was another table." And she looks over and she sees a woman cowering at the table, like hiding after she freaked out. And that led to the young mom confronting this other lady, the other lady and her getting in a fist fight, and the other lady getting thrown out, the older lady getting thrown out. She's 50. Her mug shot's in there, and she was arrested. My gosh. So some of these people that were in the argument were saying that the baby wasn't that loud. We didn't hear anything. You hear a lot of people in there defending her in that audio. That was people that were there. Like, we were sitting by you. We're here. We didn't hear anything, so shut up. They were backing up this young mom. Why did the young mom go over there and confront her? And what about people who, I'm not blaming the young mom, but I'm also sick because we don't know the whole situation, but what about people whose kids freak out and they cause a scene in the restaurant, they make a lot of noise, they disturb us? Don't they have any class? Don't they have any foresight to either not go to a restaurant if the kid's out of control or take it to go and leave? Don't they have any foresight or a willingness to take the kid outside and calm him down? Don't we have a right to enjoy our meal without being interrupted? I want to ask a few questions on this. What did you do when your kids were disrupting everybody's dinner or lunch or breakfast, whatever it would be? What did you do? And do you, and also, what's the worst confrontational situation you've seen at a restaurant? This one's insane. So what did you do? How did you handle your kids when they were disrupting and being loud and disruptive at a restaurant? How did you handle that? And what's some of the most confrontational situations you've seen at the restaurant? 800-288-9227. 800-288-WBAP. We literally would, when my young man, who is now 21 and in Japan for studies abroad, but when my young man was a baby, we would not take him to restaurants that were sit down, like, we would take him to McDonald's. That way we could get out quickly or move him to the other side. And it's like so super casual. It's like, whatever, dude. It's a kid screaming, you're at McDonald's. Deal with it. I don't know. But it's a lot better than a sit-down restaurant where have a server and they're tipping you. We would never do that. And if it did happen, we'd take the kid out. We'd take my young man out into the parking lot or something, or into the car or something. Because I had consideration for people. I didn't want to be that dude. I never wanted to be that dude. So we did that. And like I said, I didn't feel too much issues or shame when it came to going to McDonald's or Burger King or something back in the day. Because then I didn't feel bad. I'm like, what am I disrupting at the time, without Joe Biden's inflation here for 3.5 years, at the time, I'm not disrupting your expensive meal. It's $6 or $5 for a Happy Meal thing or whatever. So if you don't like it, too bad, right? Go to a sit-down restaurant. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Chime in right now. 800-288-9227. Why is this young mom going across the restaurant to confront her? Don't confront people. That's my biggest takeaway, too, from this, too. Take your kid out. If the kid can't control themselves, that's okay. Take it to go, or don't go to a sit-down restaurant. It's not hard. Be considerate of others. Also, what is a young mom? I do have issues with the young mom. What is a young mom doing going up across the restaurant and confronting this lady? You know what I do in situations like that? If it's something that's kind of like that, where it's like, this is not good. You go to you talk to a server. You say, can I speak to a manager? You say, hey, this woman over there is yelling. I don't think my kid's being disruptive. Can you handle this, please? Let the server or I'd say management go over and talk to the crazy lady. You don't talk to the crazy lady. If you're on an airplane, we talked about this last night. If you're on an airplane and somebody is a jerk next to you and you gently try to reason and they have an issue, that's it. You try once, you're nice. If it's something that starts out at a nasty level, you go to the manager. You don't go storm over to the manager either. You just kind of casually go over and you talk to somebody. You do it discreetly. You go like you're going to the bathroom, and then you pull somebody, hey, can you give me a manager? I need to speak to them discreetly over here. Hey, this is what happened. Can you handle this for me? I'm concerned about this. And by all means, if any of your employees think I'm getting a little out of control, let me know. My kid is. I'll be happy to work with you on that. What happened to that? Instead of the young lady going over and confronting this lady. That's not okay. Robert in White Settlement, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I never had any problem with the kids. They liked the restaurant and never had any problem at all. Two girls, 2 boys, nothing.
Are you sure that you didn't have a problem, but maybe others did, and you didn't realize it?
I don't think anybody else did either. They sat there and ate. The big thing I did was there's a friend of mine. There's a guy on the next table doing business on a phone, and my friend got up and clocked him. And I
Clocked him?
He said he clocked him.
He punched him?
He clocked. Oh, he did. This guy was the guy was sitting there cussing in the phone in his phone and doing business. I mean, you could tell he's and he's getting agitated. But then he started cussing, and my friend is a devout Mormon, and his wife just bailed. He got up and just smacked the guy, and I couldn't believe he did that.
So a devout Mormon chose to pimp slap a guy upside the head instead of trying to reason with him.
Yeah. Well, he started out talking to the guy, asked the guy, and the guy told him to F off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was starting to get up, and he just held his head up and said, "No, never mind." And then he turned back and said, "You know what?" And then just hit him. And after he said, "You know what?" He just hit the guy.
And then what happened?
We all got up and left.
The guy didn't come after you or anything? Did he stay on his phone?
No, he did not.
Did he stay on the phone and keep doing his business like everything was normal?
He did. He didn't stop talking on the phone. Yep, not one. Even after he got hit, he didn't get.
Wow.
Wow. I thought it was weird.
Yeah. So he was being rude, swearing. I mean, I don't know, man. Why didn't your friend did try to talk to him gently though at first?
Yeah, he started that way, but
right.
The guy was, I've had that problem. Even when I go to the restaurants and people are talking on their phone. If they're talking, it's fine. But when you start getting agitated because you're doing a business or a deal,
or you're swearing, or you're loud,
and then you start getting really up there. No.
I think that's the time when you ask gently like your friend did, and then if he doesn't respond, or if he's like, screw you, or if he keeps going, then I would just go to the management and say, hey, this guy's being loud. Wouldn't that be the better way to handle it than your friend with the pimp slap?
That's what I would have thought. That's why it surprised me, because I figured he's getting up, going to go find the manager.
No, I was raised a Catholic boy in Chicago, and if you did that, I'm now a Baptist, etc. But when I was raised, if you did that, you smack someone's side of the head, you got to do like 5 Hail Marys or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hail Marys.
So what?
Rosary beads.
So what? Yeah. So what does a Mormon do? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but he had to do something, right?
I don't know. I guess he has to go take apart a cigarette or something.
I don't know. Thanks for your call, Robert.
I have no idea.
I don't either. Thanks for your call, brother. Appreciate you. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. What did you do when your kid was disrupting others' meals when you're at a restaurant? How did you handle that? Or maybe you still have youngins like that. Mine are 17 to 21, but maybe you got youngins, and if you do, how do you handle that? I would never let my kid freak out. I would feel bad, and people would look at you a little bit, and I would sometimes look and say, I'm sorry. I was not in this me, I, social media. I'm the important thing. I'm what matters. You accommodate me. If you don't, I confront you like this young mom. I don't think a young mom was in the right either. 800-288-WBAP. And what are the worst confrontational situations you've seen at a restaurant? Tony in Dallas, you're next. Plus your call. We got 3 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3.
It's a baby. It is a baby. Are you fucking
Then don't
insane?
bring your baby in a
Yelling at me, goddamn. Don't yell
I'm
at
only
me.
yelling because I'm only yelling at you because
Can somebody bring in?
No, you don't.
At this point, I would say, can somebody bring in the mariachi band at the Mexican restaurant? People screaming and yelling at each other at a restaurant over a baby making noise, supposedly. A lot of the people at the restaurant stood up and defended the young lady who was had the baby, but the 50-year-old woman who was screaming and yelling and swearing was arrested, and the mugshot was released by the young lady who got that was offended by that. So a couple questions. What did you do when your kids disrupted everybody's meal? How did you handle that? And what's the worst confrontational situation you've seen at a restaurant? Maybe it's been you, hopefully not, but I love those stories. Want to hear from you at 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Tony in Dallas, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM, WBAP.
I was raised a long time ago, so the veterans from World War II, when I was a young man, were taken care of by having cry rooms, in theaters, and in churches, and people respected each other. And it could be because most of the population was veterans from World War II, and they knew how to respect each other. The new generation and the way we're being guided to and you hit it right on the head. The only one as important as me is not the way that we in the United States live. So you have to respect other people, and you got the opportunity now to make that understood.
How about that BS excuse, well, I have a baby, so I can get away with anything? That too.
So what are you going to do? Attack the baby?
No, but I'm just saying, how about the excuse of, no one's going to attack a baby.
No, I'm just telling you, that's what the mother must think, is that she's blaming it on the baby. The mother's got to raise that baby. That baby is an animal until the parents educate the child on how to be normal and a decent human being.
And, the baby can't control itself. It cries when it's hungry. It cries when it's got poopy diapers, etc. It's tired. And it's the mom's job to be in charge and to make sure that kid is being taken care of. And if it does freak out, which is normal for a baby, to maybe take it outside of the restaurant or get a to-go thing and not say, I'm a mother. I have a child. I can get away with anything. Screw you. Me. Nathan in Saginaw, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hi, Nathan.
Yeah, there's a weird deal happened a long time ago. Back in those days, I had some friends, and we'd go work out, with weights and stuff. And, we weren't Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but we were in bad shape. And I was in a restaurant at a booth, and then all of a sudden, somebody way down the other end, he goes, what are you looking at, Daddy?
What the heck?
And I thought, what's fixing to happen now,
And he was talking to you?
No, it wasn't me. It was the guy sitting next to me, a friend of mine.
Okay, got it. Go ahead.
And, he's a pretty big old boy. He's like 6'2", and big arms and cowboy boots on. He'd probably go 6'3" anyway,
Gosh.
And I was like 6 foot and 190, and I wasn't in bad shape, and a brown belt. So we kind of grinned and giggled a little bit, but we saw this guy was kind of serious,
Mm-hmm.
And this guy stands up down there, and then my friend, he stands up, starts walking toward him. And I don't think my friend has ever been in a fight in his life, but he was a middle linebacker in high school,
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, he turned around and ran out of that restaurant fast as he could.
He ran away because he realized he was not going to be able to take you guys on.
No, he wasn't going to win that one.
Oh, my gosh. So your friend did get up, you said?
Oh, yeah, he got up. He wasn't going to put up with it.
How big was this guy? Was he like average?
Average. He wasn't
That's
nothing.
What's funny. My gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Little man syndrome or something. I don't know.
But I'll tell you one thing. I really don't like going to restaurants, public places anymore after that.
Yeah? After that one experience.
I don't feel comfortable in crowds.
Well, Nathan, I appreciate your call, my man. And I'm glad everything worked out in that restaurant debacle. All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. In a shocking litmus test, FBI security inquiry tried to unmask an employee's Trump support memo show, and ex-Intel officials doubling down on the patriotic letter, quote-unquote, against the Hunter Biden laptop. That's crazy. All that next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Okay, we got a twofer here. Ex-Intel officials doubled down on signing, quote, patriotic letter against Hunter Biden laptop. all these 51 former intelligence officials who, many of whom, if not all of whom, still have top secret security clearances. All of them were 120 million % proven to be lies and wrong, if you will, at the very least, wrong. Now that the Joe Biden's own Justice Department held up the laptop in court and said this serial number from Apple matches the serial number on this. We have matched the data on it to his cloud data with Apple. This is his laptop. And in fact, we are using it as evidence, and it is 100% good. And they also used the evidence in the trial to convict Hunter Biden. And they're going to use that same laptop as evidence in the tax evasion charges. Isn't this stunning? And what's even more stunning is these 51 former Intel officials are doubling down. When they said the laptop has all the classic, I can't say it without laughing, all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. Really? If you walked into Joe's house, or you walked into Hunter's house in Malibu right now, and there was a laptop on his kitchen table that he was typing at, would you pick it up and and call it Russian disinformation? Because that's what you're doing right now, and everybody knows it. I don't know what's scarier, the fact that they did this and lied to us and rigged the election by 17 points. Remember that 17% of people that voted for Biden said they would have changed their vote if they would have known the laptop was real before the election. So what's scarier, these people rigging it before or continuing now to double down and say, no, I have no regrets, says former DNI James Clapper. One of the attorneys representing a couple of the other signatories, 1, 2, 3, 4, these names you and I don't know, but here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. He sent a letter to Fox News per their request. They're trying to get a response. So he represents 7 of these former Intel officials that said this. And they claimed, 7 of his clients say it's patriotic to sign it. There continues to be by many a calculated or woefully ignorant interpretation of the October 2020 letter signed by the 51 former intelligence officials concerning Hunter's laptop. A careful, objective reading of the document reflects even today its content is accurate. Dude, they got to go into comedy, right? Oh, right. Who you got? Where am I looking for? Over here. Okay. Another one of the other signatories, again, the name, you don't know this guy's name. I didn't know his name, but he was the chair of the National Intelligence Council. Quote, "This is very old news. What we said was true. We were inferring from our experience, and it did look like a Russian operation. We didn't and couldn't, of course, say it was a Russian operation. Enough said." No! Tony Blinken, Joe Biden's one of his top campaign officials when he was running for the first election, 2020, wrote up the letter, and he contacted those 51 officials. Hey, I got a letter I wrote up. Would you sign on to this? He recruited them. They all signed it. It was a political operation. It wasn't an intelligence decision. It was a political operation. And then Joe Biden stood up this all came out the week before the debate, and then he said, 51 former intelligence official, that's a bunch of garbage. He didn't say it has the earmark. He said it's garbage. They gave him the license to say that, and everybody knows that. You don't need me explaining this. And then one more thing before I ask you a few questions on this. This one from a separate story from Just the News, John Solomon, is in a shocking litmus test, FBI security inquiry tried to unmask an FBI employee's Trump support. Memos show. All right, here we go. FBI interviews raise politically slanted questions, including employees' vaccine hesitancy, Second Amendment support, prompting a bias complaint to the DOJ's internal watchdog. So FBI officials were doing a top secret security clearance for review for a longtime employee, and the employee asked witnesses. A review for this longtime employee asked witnesses whether that employee was known to support former President Donald J. Trump. if he had expressed concerns about COVID-19 vaccine or attended a Second Amendment rally. Whose business is this? Let me ask you this. Do you mind if our FBI agents vote for Trump? Do you mind if they support him? Do you mind if our FBI agents are skeptical of the COVID vaccine, which we all know doesn't work? Do you mind if an FBI agent goes to a Second Amendment rally in his personal time? I mean, this is trying to cleanse the FBI out of anybody that would support Trump or support guns or be against the COVID vaccine. And by the way, I'm not against it, actually. I mean to say I'm against taking it, and I'm against being forced to take it. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a lot more patriotic to say and support these things than it is to say it's patriotic to support the Russian disinformation laptop story. Here's my questions for you at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you believe these 50 former intelligence agents are being honest? Have they decided, do you think these 51 former intelligence agents have decided to stop, to put stopping Trump above telling the truth and their great responsibility as former intel officials? I do. And I don't believe they're being honest. I believe they're lying. And they're so prideful and arrogant and powerful that they think they can just continue to bald-faced lie and that nobody's going to question them. Well, thankfully, some people are questioning them, like in Fox. The other questions are, do you want FBI agents who support Trump or the Second Amendment removed from our FBI and intelligence forces? Sort of a purging of anybody that supports Trump or the Second Amendment. Do you want that? Do you want a purging of people that vote like you may or think like you may? I sure don't. It used to not matter what your politics were, just as long as you do your job. We're in a bad way right now in this country. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Do you believe these 51 former intel agents are being honest? And do you think they decided to put stopping Trump above telling the truth and their great responsibilities as intel officials, former ones? And do you want FBI agents who support Donald Trump or the Second Amendment removed from our FBI and intelligence forces? Are they a danger to our country? Or do you think our FBI and intel officials have gone way too far, as I do? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. My gosh. I mean, it never ends. It never ends. I think the only thing, these people are so crazy. I think the only thing that can be done is to elect Donald Trump so you can stop this garbage. It'll shut him up. It'll shut him up. Man, this is crazy. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. All right, I got a couple stories. As promised tonight at 10:45, how much do Americans need to make to afford a typical home now? What do you think an American needs to make to afford a typical home? Hint, a lot more than you used to. In fact, I have the numbers in the salary, which I'm looking at. If you wanted a typical home in 2020, before Joe Biden took office, the amount of salary you would need to make to have to be able to comfortably afford a typical home versus today is stunning. It is insane. I'll tell you what that number is coming up next. Also, we have a bunch more stuff. Ron DeSantis was right again as the New York Times tried to fact check him and school him. I'll tell you about that coming up next. And, I got so much more. That's all coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Well. Okay, Americans must earn... Well, let me start out with this. Almost 4 years ago, when Donald Trump was still president and Joe Biden was about to take office. An average, I should say this, you could comfortably afford a typical house, okay, in 2020 by earning $59,000 annual household income, you and your spouse, or just you solo, $60,000 basically, okay? That would get you into a typical home comfortably, okay? You could comfortably afford that. Today, that has gone up $47,500. Let's go over that again. The house for a comfortable, affordable, typical home for a family of, for a family would be $59,000 income to get into one. Today, it's $106,500. 40. Trying to do this math in my head again. 40. Let's see. That's 40, and then 1, and then say $47,500 more. Isn't that? I mean, what? Thomas, can you do basic math with a little calculator over there? Would you do yeah, I can't hear you. What? Okay. See what the percentage increase is that is from 59,000 to 106,000. All right. We'll just keep it simple. 59 to 106. Okay. What is the percentage increase? It's going to be shocking. So that's from the Daily Mail, and it's because it's per Zillow. And 55% increase. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. 55% increase. Okay. God help us. I mean, really. I mean, how do you can't afford? The only reason that people like you and me, a lot of us, middle class, upper middle class or beyond, can afford our home is because we bought it before this crap went down, and we bought it with the lower interest rates. Do you know the same house today, according to one of the many things I read today, the same house today before Joe Biden, if you bought like during Trump, the last year Trump, and then you were to buy it today, the same house is almost exactly twice as much money for the same house today as it was like 4 years ago, according to interest rates and such. I read that earlier today too in my many research and studies. Double for the same house payment 4 years later. I mean, this is unsustainable. Everything's great if you're upper crust and beyond, but that's not what makes this country go. I think that's why the black vote decreased by 26% for Biden in Ohio. That brand new poll today was like, oh my gosh, a 26% decline. He can't win with those numbers. You can't. I know there's a certain amount that he could afford to lose in the black vote, but he cannot allow that's dead in the water numbers. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Traveling internationally, it could be illegal to bring along these medications, according to a pharmacist. Narcotics and opioids, no kidding. That's kind of a no-brainer. Oxycodone, hydrocodone, codeine, heavily regulated in many countries. That's funny because after a crash, I had, and I still get it from time to time with my neck pain, but some Tylenol with codeine, Tylenol number 3. But in fact, the crash happened a week or so before I went to Mexico, and I traveled with the prescription bottle, and I think I also, so the label's on it, and I think I also looked it up. I'm going to tell you this, Japan, where my son is, interesting. My doctor, who we love very much, my nurse practitioner, she's been taking care of our family for probably 15 years almost now here in North Texas. And she's awesome. We share the same values and everything. She said her daughter-in-law is from Japan. And she just went there they got married 2, 3, 4 months ago or something. She sent pictures, were unbelievable. She's a photographer on the side for fun. And she said, don't bring anything. Because she knew, and her daughter-in-law is from Japan. And my son, though, I said, dude, you cannot, because he's got some ADHD medication and some other stuff that are definitely not qualified in Japan. They're bad. Our what do you call it? What is she called? Not a doctor, but a nurse practitioner. She she literally said, don't bring anything because they'll arrest you. They'll bust you at the airport. She wasn't trying to be paranoid or conspiratorial. She's like, that's what I've heard. So my son Isaac did, I said, listen, you research everything. You look online, you go to the Japanese and American embassies, and you look at, and the Japanese, whatever, HHS, whatever they are there for the health and whatever, and you see what you can do. And then you fill out every freaking piece of paper. And if you don't know, you don't bring it. And this is a big deal because he has to study insanely. And that's who he is. And you can't do that nearly as well when you got some pretty serious ADHD like he and I have without your medication. So he filled it out and he insisted. I said, are you sure? And I printed out the stupid 21-page thing, and he's like, I got it. I filled out the form. It was approved by the health, whatever. I said, you print that letter. You have a hard copy with you. You keep it on your email chain. You have that available on your phone. Don't play around. When you get there, you don't want to be arrested at the airport. You know, no problem. He got in. He's fine. But he was told, like, don't even buy Benadryl. Benadryl, did you know Benadryl's banned in most countries outside of the U.S.? I didn't know that. It's crazy. Benadryl's the best thing in the world. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Oh, yeah. You can use it for sleep. You got to be careful on that one, actually. I used to do it regularly. I now do medications from the doctor because they're not addictive. They're not this. They're not that. It's not the kind that you pass out and crack your head like my poor mom did. Was it Ambien or something? That's dangerous. But whatever works for you and whatever your doctor says is fine. Medical cannabis, no bleep. Of course you can't bring that in other countries. Psychotropic drugs. This is interesting. Xanax, Adderall, benzodiazepines. You got to check it out. That's all. You don't go over there and expect to be treated because you're an American the same. No, not going to happen. Okay, Ron DeSantis is vindicated again. In 2023, the New York Times fact-checked Ron DeSantis' claim, my friend Eric Erickson writes, that terrorists have most likely come across the unsecured federal border. They rated it as false until now. 6 Russian nationals, as we know, from, I think, Tajikistan, which is a Russian affiliated country from before it borders it, have terrorized the ISIS and have been arrested in a coordinated sting operation spanning L.A., New York, Philadelphia. We talked about this big time last night. 2 ICE sources confirmed by the New York Post they arrested the 6 people who hail from Tajikistan over the last week, and the FBI contacted the agency to warn it. Remember, these guys were stamped approved to come in. And then a year later, we got to arrest them. One of them was also using CPB-1, Joe Biden's app, for the illegals to come in. All this is approved. There's no screening going on. They can't keep up with it. There's nothing. So Ron DeSantis was right. The New York Times needs to apologize and change their fact check and apologize. Liar, liar, pants on fire.